Good evening and welcome to tonight's session. Right, so we're doing an Ask Me Anything session. It's all about engineering, obviously hosted by Pathway CTM, but we've got three brands with us, the Dyson Institute, we have GSK and AWE. I'm going to be learning a lot tonight because I'm not going to lie to you and say I know everything about these brands, so it is going to be a journey for me as well. Now, this is an Ask Me Anything session, so bring your questions. It's going to run a lot of students will have come to insight events and taster days, and we do a lot of talking, and there's a short Q&A towards the end. This is going to be different. There's going to be a much longer Q&A, so there's going to be a lot of time for a lot of questions, and we want you to get a lot of questions in. As we go through the session today, we always say use the chat box, use the Q&A box, but because this is an Ask Me Anything session and we want a lot of questions, what I'm going to do is shortly, after the polls or just before the polls, I'm going to disable the chat box. So we can't use that. Us panelists can, but students, attendees, you won't be able to use the chat box. What I want you to use is the Q&A box. You will see the Q&A box. You can see it at the top. It says Q&A. Click on it and you can type your questions in there and then put submit. Others won't be able to see your question until I click on it to make it live so that the panelists can then see it and we can answer it as we go through. Because the point is if we have too much in the chat box and the Q&A box, it becomes difficult to manage. So let's put it all in the Q&A box and we can see them orderly and it'll be nice and ordered and controlled. So that'll be good. And I can see lots of you have found it brilliant. Lots of you. Two of you have found the Q&A box. Make sure you can find it and see it, which is good. And Julian, you've done a test and it works brilliantly. You will know who I am. A lot of you will have been to our sessions before. Some of you might not have been to a Pathway CTM session before. So I'm Max. My official job title, I am the Facilitation and Engagement Lead. That effectively means that I look after events and I look after what we call student success. So with this session, you're going to get the chance to ask questions to people who are representing 3 different companies in a sector, and it may whet your appetite. Depending on what year you're in, you're going to have different questions and different support needs afterwards. And if you're thinking afterwards, well, I really want to get an application into this brand, or maybe I want to get, I don't know, you might want to think more about what the opportunities are at this brand, or if it's right for you. We will help you with that. So you can come to my Ask Me Anything session, which happens on a Wednesday, 4:30 till 5:30, every Wednesday during term time. So that is what we do. If you have other questions about support, me and my team can support you. You should be able to email us and get answers and get support to go through to help you with all of this. Okay, so what's on the agenda for today? I'll talk very quickly. We're going to get our poll done shortly. Then we're going to meet the Dyson Institute. They're going to talk a little bit. Then we're going to meet GSK and they're going to talk a little bit. We're meeting apprentices from these brands as well. And then we've got AWE and we're going to meet them. Think about the questions that you've got. And then we're going to try and leave as much time for the Q&A. It's open. Put your questions in the Q&A box. We will go through them. You've got apprentices from the brand and you've got representative of the brands who know about the early careers, who know about the opportunities, who know about the recruitment processes. So think about it. We want to try and get as much done as we can before 7 o'clock so that we can get full value out of the questions. And I can see loads coming in as well. Fantastic. So what I'm going to do now, launch the poll and get you answering some questions. You can see it. Tell us which year group you're in, which region are you from. Can you also tell us what route you're thinking of taking after leaving school or college? Okay, you may not know what that is yet. And tell us which of these brands you've heard of before. That's multiple choice, that one. So you should be able to answer more than one. Brilliant. So I'm going to give you time to answer those questions. Still got a lot of people to answer, so we're still coming through. We're almost there. You can see we've got a lot from year 12, which is good. Got a lot from a lot of years, actually. Different regions. Okay, I'm going to give you 10 more seconds. 10 more seconds. Five seconds to go. All right, let's do it. Let's share the results and have a look. So which year group are you in? 33% of year 12, 7% year 13, 21 a year 10, 18% a year 9. This is fantastic to see you thinking about this at such an early age. It's wonderful. 17% a year 11, 1% have left school, and we've got 3% of parents, teachers, or carers, which is fantastic. Again, ask as many questions as you want. We're here to support all of you. And for parents as well, if you want support afterwards to try and help understand best opportunities for your children or your students, please don't hesitate to get in touch or come to my Ask Me Anything session. Now, which region are you from? 36% Greater London, 29% Southeast. We got some from Scotland, got 11% of the Northwest, 4% of the Northeast, 11% of the Midlands. Good. And then which route are you thinking of taking after leaving school or college? 34% are looking at university degree, 25% degree apprenticeship, 14% are looking at other levels, 27% are not sure yet. You're my favorite people because you keep me in a job. But genuinely, it's fine if you don't know yet, because that's what the power and the value of coming to these sessions, to ask the professionals their opinions and their advice. And then which of these brands have you heard of before? 82% have heard of the Dyson Institute, 35% have heard of GSK, 19% have heard of AWE, 13% have heard of none of the brands. Again, perfect time to be here because we're going to educate you about all of them. Fantastic. Brilliant. In a second, I'm going to disable the chat box for attendees. For panelists, it will be fine. Make sure you put everything in the Q&A box, but let's get to it. Let's stop me talking because you know I can talk for Britain. And I'm going to hand over to Tim from the Dyson Institute. Welcome, Tim. Good to see you again. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having us, Max. It's great to be here. And I'm joined by George, who's one of our degree apprentices. George, do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm George. I'm a second-year undergraduate apprentice at the Dyson Institute. I'm currently in Dyson's upstream robotics team. And I have, during my first year, I've done 6 months in the Dyson electronics side of the motors development, and then another 6 months in the new software team. So any questions on any of that, any questions on any of those types of areas, I'm more than happy to answer.
Thanks, George. Yeah, so I work in the recruitment and admissions team for the Dyson Institute. So what that means is doing events like this, chatting to you guys, and it's great to see that so many of you have already heard of the Dyson Institute. It means I've kind of done my job already, which is fantastic. But for those of you who haven't heard of the Dyson Institute or want a bit of a refresher, we are quite obviously connected to Dyson as a company. The Dyson Institute was a bit of a brainchild of James Dyson, our founder in chief, as a kind of way to re-engineer essentially the way that education is done, because he recognized that there was a shortage of engineers in this country and really wanted to fill that gap, and was challenged by the government about a decade ago about what could he do to do that. And he came up with this idea of creating his own higher education institution. His dream to create his own university at Dyson, and that is what the Dyson Institute is today. So we've been around for about 5 or 6 years now and had about 2 years of graduating cohorts. So the way that the program works is that students come to us straight from school. So you apply after A levels, and you'll come to us to study a degree apprenticeship. So what that means is that you'll be studying towards a Bachelor's of Engineering degree, where the first 2 years of that degree program, you'll be studying a general engineering syllabus. So a bit of mechanics, a bit of electronics, a bit of software engineering, and how all of that works together. In those first 2 years, you'll spend 2 days a week studying towards your degree, while spending the other 3 days of the week working in the Dyson global engineering teams as a real engineer right from day one. So you're learning and putting that into practice on live projects rather than just fabricated things for your learning benefit. And then at the end of your second year, you'll then have the opportunity to specialize into one of those streams. So whether that be mechanical engineering or software engineering, electrical engineering, or keeping a bit more general and studying electromech. And that is a way to go a bit deeper in your knowledge base, develop some expertise, and also spend your workplace time in a specialized team rather than rotating around the business. All the way through this program, you're getting paid a salary, which starts on £18,000. And that salary increases year on year as you develop your roles and responsibility. And there are no tuition fees involved with the course. So you have the opportunity to graduate debt-free with 4 years work under your belt. You're accelerating your career at Dyson and have the opportunity to go out into business and become the engineering leaders of Dyson in the future. And that's why we're here today. We want to talk about that, answer your questions, whether it be about the program itself or George's experience. And we'll be really happy to kind of share a bit more a little bit later on.
Perfect, fantastic. Now remember, get your questions in. I can see lots of questions coming into the Q&A box already. Get questions in. George is here. Tim is here from the Dyson Institute. Think about what you want to know about and put them in and we'll get to them. Brilliant. Okay, now let's move on and meet GSK. So I'm going to hand over to Leanne from GSK. Welcome. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Very good. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Leanne. I'm here from GSK. I work in HR. So I'm kind of a midway point between GSK and schools and school leavers and universities around the UK. There are 3 of us here on the call today, but Millie is really struggling to get in, bless her. So we've been typing away, trying to help her audio work. I don't know how to help her, but I'm trying. So hi, Millie, keep going. And Toby's also here. So they're 2 of our fantastic apprentices here at GSK, and they'll hopefully both be able to speak to you today and to answer some of your questions. For those of you in the poll who said you don't know anything about GSK, or you kind of maybe heard the name but not really sure what we do, essentially we are a healthcare company. So we create medicines and we do a lot of research, and the whole purpose of your apprenticeship really is to come along and to help us see how you could learn more skills to contribute to that mission at GSK. Sorry, I'm just seeing messages from Millie. Okay, Max, we can go to the next slide, actually.
That's the one we've got.
Oh, okay, not to worry. So that's the 3 of us here today from GSK. So any questions you've got, please feel free to send them over. And anything that we can't answer today, we'll definitely get in touch with you after the call.
Perfect. And remember that Toby and Millie, they're going to let us know. Toby, do you want to let us know now a little bit about what you do at GSK?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm an engineering apprentice at Barnard Castle, so that's in the northeast. I'm a 4th year engineering apprentice, so I'm in my last year. So I'm a multi-skilled, like I said, so I do electrical, mechanical, instrumentation. So at the moment I'm studying a HNC through Glaxo. So that's all funded as part of the apprenticeships, and work that I do on a daily basis, routine maintenance, calibrations, fault finding, breakdown maintenance, and then I've got the opportunity to move across the site. So I've got opportunities to work in different business units. So at the moment I'm working with liquid inhalation, so we make inhalers. So Ventolin is quite a popular brand. So that's currently where I'm at the moment. So I'm on the lines fixing it, doing the routine maintenance like I've just said.
Brilliant. Remember as well, Toby is here to answer questions as well. I know that Millie's having issues trying to hear us or even speak to us. So what I would suggest, Millie, log out if you can, come back in and we'll see if you're fixed. And if you are, then when you come back, then we can hear from you as well, because I want to get you sorted too. Now, we've got AWE as well. And I will admit the last 2, GSK and AWE, I have done my research, but I didn't know as much about them beforehand. So this is going to be good to hear from GSK and AWE. I've heard a lot about the Dyson Institute, done a lot with them before. So I'm quite excited because we've got 3 very different brands, and it's good to see the difference. So Matt is from AWE, and we've got 2 apprentices as well. Matt, welcome. How are you?
Hello. So only one apprentice. Charlotte's our sort of she does a lot of the recruitment for us. So you know, if you apply to AWE, you'll deal with Charlotte, and she'll take you through that journey. You know, applying to offer. So yeah, Matt Saville, I'm engineering manager, so responsible for delivery and maintenance at AWE. And I'll just let the other two introduce themselves, and I'll take you through a couple of slides we've got and explain what we're about. So Charlotte.
Thank you, Matt. Hi, everyone. Yep, I'm Charlotte. I am an apprentice recruiter at AWE. We have a load of apprenticeships on offer. So please do take a look at our website as well after the call today, and have a feel for what apprenticeships we have on there that you can apply to. We have a mix of both level 3 and level 6 apprenticeships. And that covers engineering, science and business. So we do have a load on there for you to have a look at. Anyway, that's enough from me. I will pass you over to Kai now, please.
Hi, I'm Kai. I'm a 4th year level 3 CNI apprentice. I started back in 2019, went through the academy, and I'm now on work placements out in the business.
Brilliant. So AWE, we're obviously quite a unique company. We're one of a kind in AWE, and it's a quick overview of what we do. I'm not going to go verbatim, but we deliver warheads for UK's deterrent and use our expertise to support national security. So it's not just about producing the warhead, it's about keeping the country safe and the national security element around it. So we respond to sort of incidents around sites around the country, if there is anyone. There was sort of one example I always like to give is, there was the poisoning of Litva and Yinko many years ago. We responded to that because of our expertise around that nuclear site. But in order for us to produce and maintain this sort of the warhead, we need lots of skills from science, from engineering to security, and IT right across the patch. So we pretty much employ most sort of types of trades and people and skills. Our apprenticeships generally are sort of, we have CNI, which Kai is, mechanical, electrical, maintenance, draftspersons. We're looking for precision machinists. We've had HR apprentices, IT apprentices. Generally what we're looking at sort of today is our level 3s, but we got our level 6s out there for the guys and girls that have carried out sort of their A levels in sort of sixth form or sort of college, and they can then join us for sixth form. But I'm just going to hand you over to Kai. She can give you a sort of quick overview of what it's like as an apprentice. If you're there,
so Kai? Yes, so for the first couple of the year and a half, you will spend at for a level 3 apprentice, you'll spend at something we call the Apprenticeship Academy, where you'll learn all the basic skills starting from ground zero. So if you know nothing, if you come straight out of school like I did, you will learn everything you need to learn. And then you will spend a year and a half out on site after that, getting to try out various places, see where you fit into the business, and then you get to stay and continue working in the business. It's a very good opportunity to learn about various things of how to make the warheads, how to look after the systems. It's all in it. There's loads of stuff on site that you can learn about.
So we're obviously very unique. We got very sort of bespoke equipment that sort of so we could manufacture what we do. And as Kai says, you spend the time in the training academy, so it's all about making sure we're sort of you're safe to deliver the work. Because of what we do, we need to be 100% safe. We can't have incidents. So you learn all your basic skills and the processes and everything go through, and before actually heading out on site to actually deploy that amongst our teams. So I don't know if you want to quickly move on to the next slide. So it's just we got. Move on to the next slide, Max, if you can.
Those are the 3 I have. This one.
There's another one behind that wasn't there, but that's fine. There was just a sort of the one showing the sites, but that's absolutely fine.
Perfect. Okay.
There we go. So, you know, it's just a quick view of we're based generally across the 2 sites, and we're located around our facility that looks after seismology and doing the analysis and of if there's any incidents around sites. Oh, we're skipping around there. And we also got a site up to Coalport. So the way I try to explain it is Aldermaston, we make the parts, Burfield, we put it together, then we all ship it up to Coalport and load it onto the subs, where Coalport is one of our sort of sites as well, but we don't deal with it generally at the moment. It's a separate entity, but moving forward, we're going to be more and more involved in that. So that's me. Please ask any questions around that, and hopefully we can answer them.
Fantastic, brilliant. There's a lot of good information there as well. And there's lots of good questions coming through for all of you already. I can see Millie is back, and I'm just going to ask if Millie can hear us.
She can. She's just messaged me.
Yes,
We
I
can
can
hear
now.
you.
About time. Jesus.
You're on.
I was
It's okay.
on.
You're on now. So
Yeah.
tell us what you do at GSK then.
So my name's Millie. I'm a 3rd year engineering apprentice. And yeah, so day-to-day basis. So we got breakdowns, do calibrations, just general maintenance around the plant.
Fantastic. There's going to be lots of questions coming your way as well. So I'm glad that you can hear us and that we can hear you too.
Yeah.
So we've met the brands. We are going to get involved in questions. As we go through this, there are going to be a lot of generic questions. And if yours differs, because what we're not going to do, students, is we're not going to ask the same question to everybody. Otherwise, we'll be here until tomorrow morning. There are a lot of questions as we go through that are duplicated for all the brands. So we'll get them to answer them as well. But what we can start with, let me have a look. Millie, whilst you're fresh, you're in. So I'm going to ask you, as part of your apprenticeship, how many days a week do you work and how many days a week do you study?
So it depends what year you're in. So the first year, because I joined straight from school, I had to do a PO in engineering. So that was 5 days a week at college. 2nd year, 3rd year and 4th year is just 1 day a week and the other 4 on site at work. So it varies depending on what stage you are in, like your education or.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. Tim from the Dyson Institute. Are there any opportunities with the Dyson Institute where you do not have to have studied A-level maths?
Not within the Dyson Institute, but within Dyson, there are other lower-level apprenticeship opportunities, which would be best to check out the Dyson Early Careers website. So that is a slightly separate scheme to the Dyson Institute. What we offer is just the one Eng engineering degree apprenticeship program.
And whilst we're with you, Tim, I've got a couple of follow-up questions. Does it have to be an A-level in maths, or can you get accepted with T-levels in engineering?
Yeah, so we do require the A-level in maths, but the kind of subsequent subjects that you study can be equivalent. So our basic requirements are 2 A's to be at A-level, to include A in maths and an A in another STEM subject. But we do accept equivalencies for that STEM subject, such as BTECs or other things like that. So best to check out the website for a full list of the breakdown for those.
Brilliant. And last question for you for now. Where are you based, the Dyson Institute?
Good question. I didn't say that earlier. We're based in a small town in the Wiltshire countryside called Malmesbury. Probably best just to Google Maps it, because it's one that nobody's really ever heard of unless you've heard of Dyson before. But it's about half an hour outside of Bristol, kind of between Bath, Bristol and Swindon, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it does. Okay, and again, look at the Dyson Institute website, and you will see where it is based, and you will see some great pictures as well of what the campus looks like at the Dyson Institute. Okay, AWE. What's the difference in levels of apprenticeships? Level 3 and level 6 were mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I can take this one, Matt. So level 3 is our advanced apprenticeships, and level 6 are our degree apprenticeships. So that's the main difference. So if you study level 6, AWE will pay for you to go to college, go to uni, and actually get a degree at the end of your apprenticeship. With the advanced apprenticeships, you still will have qualifications. You'll still go to college. It may be a day release, but it won't be a degree that you get at the end. There's a difference in salary as well. You'll have a slightly higher salary if you come onto the level 6 compared to the level 3. And again, everything is on our website. We have all the level 3 roles listed, all the level 6 roles, and then we also have on there the age you need to be, the salary which is for each role, as well as the qualifications you would gain at the end of each role as well.
Brilliant, brilliant. Matt, I think you've highlighted a couple of questions that you might want to answer. Is that right? So we've got like, how long is the AWE course? And then the other one is the AWE paid by the Royal Navy to create the nuclear weapons?
So yeah, I just had a look at them. Yeah, AWE is MOD, so we're an armed body as such. So obviously we deal with the Royal Navy because our product goes on the submarines, but yes, not paid by them. MOD paid for, obviously Navy, us, Army and everything. So the apprenticeships, it depends on which one you're doing generally, but most of them are a 3-year apprenticeship where you'll do that 18 months or so in the training academy, then out on site, and then you'll carry out an endpoint assessment after that. Obviously, over the last couple of years, some of the apprenticeships have been slightly longer for the known reasons, but obviously we're just making sure we're supporting people and getting to that endpoint assessment point so they pass and they can then outturn.
Brilliant. Okay. Now, I've got a question here which each of the brands can answer, and I think it's going to be your recruitment people. Are there any apprenticeships for people graduating from year 11? So finishing GCSE. Leanne from GSK, do you want to go with that one first? Do you have opportunities for anybody after year 11?
Yes, so there are GSK opportunities all the way through. So we have apprenticeships for people leaving school, and we also have apprenticeships for people leaving university. So as everyone else has said, the best place to look is the website. So I'm going to put that link here in the chat, hopefully.
Fantastic.
Because there are so many apprenticeships. So it's really, really important that, you know, as the applicant, you know where you are in terms of, are you finishing school or are you finishing sixth form, so that you can choose the right one. So you're making sure that you're applying for the right apprenticeship. That doesn't mean, though, that if you start at that level, that you're going to stay at that level of apprenticeship. Some students do come on straight from school and they go through to do other apprenticeships at GSK right the way through to doing their university degree with us.
Brilliant, fantastic. So that's GSK, and that should answer. There is another question there from somebody saying, do you have applications for level 3 and 4? That answers that question. Yes, they do. And go and check the website, and Leanne's going to put the link in a short second. AWE, what about yourselves?
Yeah, answer is oh, sorry, Matt. Answer is yes for us as well. Some of our apprenticeships you need to be 16 and you need to have your GCSEs, and others you need to be 18, and for some you need to have A levels. Again, they are listed on our website, and I will also pop the link in the chat as well for you all.
Brilliant. So the example of that is Kai. She came straight from school, you know, and applied during her year 11. With, you know, the expectations so she'd get the sort of at least level 4s in your maths and English, and you know, the ones we expect.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So there you go. You can start to see, we're starting to see that when you look at the opportunities, it's not just about what opportunities exist once you've done your A levels or equivalent to A levels after 18. Instead of going on to university to get your degree, you can go to do a degree apprenticeship, but there are opportunities before that as well. From year 11, once you've done your GCSEs, there are different level apprenticeships you can go on to as well. And this is why we always say, go and have a look at the opportunities and do your research too. And you'll see that different people come in at different stages, which is good to see. Tim, with the Dyson Institute, is it slightly different because of what you mentioned earlier, that it is after A levels that you would go on to do that degree apprenticeship with you guys?
Yeah. So the Dyson Institute is just the one program that we offer for school leavers, so post 18, and that's for a level 6 degree apprenticeship, which is why we need A level or equivalent qualifications. But for low level apprenticeships, as I said, do check out the Dyson Early Careers website for more information there.
Brilliant. Okay, as I look through the questions that we've got in the Q&A box, there's a few that I'm going to cover by asking our apprentices some questions that students have asked. So I'm going to start with GSK. We'll go with Toby and then Millie, and then I'll ask the other apprentices as well. You're doing apprenticeships. Now, a few years ago, you were in these students' position. Did you always know that it was an apprenticeship you were going to do? Did you know that you were going to go to university, or did you think you were going to go to university, or were you of the opinion, I don't want to go to university, but I still want to get a degree? And did you find the apprenticeship a little bit later than you would have done? What's the situation, Toby? How did you get into your apprenticeship?
So my situation is slightly different to Lily because I left school, went to college, got my A levels, and then come into Glaxo afterwards. So I'd done 2 years at college, got my A levels, and then jumped into Glaxo. But Glaxo, for me, it stood out. I've always wanted to work for Glaxo because it was a local company. So it was just down the road. So straight away, I knew I was kind of like wanting to work for that company. Then the apprenticeship was the first step to get your door, like get a foot in the door. So getting the apprenticeship basically allowed me to get the insight, get the knowledge, get the training, get everything I needed to know before actually working Glaxo full time. So I went to college 2 years, studied engineering, maths, IT, business, all relevant subjects. So all useful, I'll use them every single day. And then I decided when I was at college, an apprenticeship was quite right. I didn't fancy going to university purely because the debt wasn't an aspect I didn't want to look at. So I think apprenticeship, you're getting paid and you're getting qualifications. So I'm currently doing my HNC, which is I think the equivalent to a level 4, with the potential room to do a degree afterwards, end of this year. So that's all going to be funded by GSK. So straight away, I'm getting the same qualifications out of what I would do in the uni as in an apprenticeship. So, and I'm getting paid to do it. So it's a win-win, really.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Good. Thank you for that. Millie, what about yourself then?
I'm sorry, I missed that question because we all froze. So I'm back now though, so you might have to repeat that one.
Yeah, no worries. So the question was, did you always know you were going to go and do an apprenticeship, or did you have your eyes on university and then you found this a little bit later? Or were you always of the opinion, I'm not, university's not for me, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go straight for an apprenticeship. How did you get into it?
See, in school I studied DT and engineering, which were hands-on, and they were like one of my 2 favourite subjects. I just like doing things rather than, you know, sitting and looking at the computer, which some people might like, I don't know. And I always used to go to work with my dad when I was younger, and I'd used to pick up things and learn things. And I just liked learning that way, doing the job like in itself rather than sitting and writing about it. Do you know what I mean? You can learn about it better, you pick it up better. So yeah, my brother did an apprenticeship as well, so I sort of see him go down that path, and he succeeded with it as well. So it was maybe a bit of that as well.
Okay, good to hear. Kai, what about yourself then?
So I'm very local to AWE. Throughout my entire school life, they were doing talks at my school about the apprenticeship, and I was always very interested in it. And it was what I had my eyes set on. And towards year 11, I started looking at other places, had a look at some colleges around, and did decide that AWE just would be the route for me. It meant that I'd be able to continue on, do all the higher education I wanted, getting paid to do it, and having AWE pay for me as well, support me the entire way, and I'd have a job at the end of it. It just seemed like the obvious choice to me.
Okay, good. George, what about yourself?
So I always thought I was going to end up at university, and quite luckily for me, actually, I did a BTEC in engineering alongside some of my other A levels, and my teacher for that was very much, very heavily encouraged us to, you know, take a look and consider apprenticeships, and I'm forever grateful to him for doing that. Because about halfway through year 12, I actually sat down, did some research, came across the Dyson Institute, and, you know, changed my mind.
Cool. That's what we like to hear. And this is why we do these sessions for students. And it's so good to see year 9s and year 10s and even year 11s on, because it means you're doing the research earlier so that you're not hitting year 13 and then finding a different course or a different route and then having to worry about doing the research for it. Doing the research early is good. But those of you that are just discovering, and you might be in year 13 and want support, remember to come to us and we will support you through this. Okay, follow-up questions to that then is, what are your job prospects like? So once you finish the apprenticeship at whichever company you're at, what does your job prospect look like? Do you remain employed and continue in your role? What does it look like? And also, what is your workload like? And I will ask a supplementary question to that. How much support do you get? George, let's start with you.
So at the end of the degree, you can you'll have spent 2 years in one team. You can choose to dependent on you achieving well enough at your degree. So depending on getting a certain grade at your degree. And so I'm going to default to Tim just for technicalities, but the vast majority of people on terms of the rules of what happens when you graduate as to filling positions in Dyson, because I don't want to say something and then get it wrong. But the vast majority, everyone that I know of that's been at Dyson for 4 years has gone on to fulfill another role in Dyson. So some people decide they want to stay in their teams that they've been in for the past 2 years. Some people decide they want to go and do a year in a different team and then come back, or change teams completely. But yeah, the vast majority of people are staying on at Dyson in some way or another.
Brilliant. Cool.
I'd just add to that as well. I think like the global opportunities that are there for our undergraduates as well. So when they graduate, they have the opportunity to go and do a year in some of Dyson's global offices out in Southeast Asia and Singapore, and some in the Americas as well. So that it's not just limited to kind of the Malmesbury campus or the UK even. There are those kind of global opportunities to pursue careers if that's of interest.
I had some conversations with Bart, who was in the original cohort. He's got the opportunity to come away. He's gone to Singapore. He's graduated, gone to Singapore for a year and come back. And, you know, some of the life experiences he's got from that is just amazing.
Good to hear. Fantastic. Kai, what about yourself?
So during the apprenticeship, you go around various buildings on placement to see what job opportunities there are for your sector. And at the end of that period, you are kept somewhere. It's your outturn, and you get a job in that role. And there's so many opportunities there. They will support you for anything. They want you to progress. I mean, currently I'm applying to do a HNC through the company, and I am being supported through it tremendously. And there's so many opportunities to do degrees through the company, and they will all help you because they really want you to do it as well. So it's brilliant for self-progression as well.
Good. Cool. Millie, what about you?
So in terms of like when we finish our apprenticeship, we basically do like rotations, similar. We do it like around all the different areas, and then when it comes to the end of it, you get a choice of maybe I like it there. Is there a job there? Can I go there? That sort of thing. And in terms of like getting taken on at the end of your apprenticeship, the only reason which a company probably wouldn't take you on is like at Glaxo anyways, because of attitude. If you have a good attitude, if you want to learn, if you want to do well, then they'll help you. If you don't, then well, that's it, isn't it?
Of course, absolutely. Toby, is it the same for you?
Yeah, backing up what Billy said really. So I'm in my landing role now. So being a 4th year apprentice, I've been around the site. So first year of my apprenticeship, I went to college. Year 2, come back to site, and then I did 6 monthly rotas. So 6 months in one department, following 6 months in another department, so on. So I went across 4 areas of the site, got opportunities to see different aspects of the role. And then fundamentally, now I'm in my land role, I chose to come to a certain area, which is liquid inhalations, maintenance inhalers. That was like the area I found most suitable for me. I'm now in my landing role, so I'm now permanently in there, don't move around anymore. That's basically where the job is at the end of my time. Yeah, basically that's the final area, don't move. But obviously when you start your apprenticeship, you obviously, if you leave school, you're quite new, you're quite fresh, but Glaxo does treat you well, they train you, so they don't expect you to know everything from day one. And obviously as you progress through your different years, you'll get better. But from year 1, you'll have some responsibilities. Year 2, you'll pick up more and more and more. And then in your 4th year, so I'm now quite like independent. I get jobs like independently, and you get a lot more like work on your shoulders, but it's a good thing because it's all about progression.
Yeah, I was going to say that like they only give you workload which they know you can handle, you know, because they know you're an apprentice, so they're not going to put you out in the deep end. But sometimes maybe it's a little bit of that does help you learn a little bit better, but it's not all bad and scary.
That's exactly right. They won't overload you with work if they know you can't cope with it, because obviously you've still got your college aspects to look at, as well as your on-site learning, hands-on skills, so they'll do it appropriately. Obviously, if you're exceeding expectations, then you can take on more work, and then obviously that looks even better on yourself.
Cool. So you can see their students that, like you've heard from the different apprentices, that the way that it works is you are supported. And I think that was just re-emphasized there, that the company that you work for wants you to be successful. They're investing money in you, they're investing time in you, they're investing in you as the future of their company. So of course they want you to be successful, and they're knowledgeable, and they know that you have the study work to do, and you've got the actual job to do itself, but you will be supported to be successful in both, because it is no benefit to them if you're not successful. And with depending on the company, depending on the apprenticeships as well, and this isn't just for the companies that we've got here, once you get to the end of your apprenticeship and you qualify, if you're doing a degree one and you get your degree, they're not going to turn around and go, well, thanks very much, we just invested a load of money and time in you, and you've worked here for 3 years, but can you go and work for one of our competitors now, because we don't want you. That's not going to happen. But then again, you have to realize that some companies will put requirements in place that you need to be able to achieve a certain grade to be able to continue on into the company itself. But you come away with a degree, a fantastic degree, and 3 years experience. So you have to think about these things. And you go to university, you get your degree. Now you need to apply for a graduate role, because you can stay at university, you can go on and do a master's, you can go and do a PhD. But once you get your degree, now you will need to apply for a graduate role. If you get that degree through an apprenticeship, well, you got the degree, that company is going to want to keep you because that's part of your permanent contract. You continue. Even if you do a level 3 or a level 4, you still get that recognized qualification. And I think Leanne mentioned it earlier, that you can still continue. That doesn't stop there. Just because you started at level 3 doesn't mean it stops at level 3. If at a later stage you say, well, I want to do level 4, or perhaps I want to go on and finish up to level 6 and get my degree, you can. So there will always be those opportunities. But the thing to see there is, you've heard it from apprentices, that they are supported. The workload, sometimes it's not manageable because that helps you grow, but you will be supported to be able to cope with it. And you are given the opportunities at the end. So good questions to come in there from the students. Now let's go back to ones that, actually, I've got a question here. Do you need to stay with the company for any length of time after you graduate or you get your degree? And I can see Matt's shaking his head. Everybody else will be shaking their heads, because the answer to this, it doesn't matter which company it is, there is no requirement that you have to work for them for any length of time. If you ever, as a student, come across an opportunity that says to you, once you graduate or qualify, you need to remain with us for a certain length of time, question whether that is the right company to go to, and ethically whether they're doing the right thing and if it's right for you, because the vast majority won't ask you to do that. So we got a couple of questions. Matt, I don't know if you're allowed to answer this, just because of the kind of work that you do, but whereabouts is the AWE Black Nest site?
So the Black Nest site is literally 5 minutes down the road from the main site. It's an old manor house building, and we don't do a lot down there, but it's part of that nuclear security. So they're analysing seismology across the world. So if someone is doing nuclear tests, so it's all part of the nuclear test ban treaty. So if someone is doing nuclear tests around the world, they can pick that up. So we don't have a lot of dealings there, but it is one of their sites.
Brilliant. And then I'm going to ask all the admissions or the recruiters, what do your teams look for in applicants? So when you're looking at young people who are either finishing their GCSEs, but they're A-levels that are full of talent and potential, what do you look for within them to come and join your company? Because we know that, yes, grades are important, but they're not the most important thing. So what else is it, what else do you look for within them? And then how do you view employers? How do you view an apprenticeship compared to a degree? So how do you compare somebody doing a university degree or qualifying from university compared to somebody who's qualified through a degree apprenticeship? And I'll ask AWE first. And Matt or Charlotte, which one of you two would answer that?
Do you want to kick off, Charlotte?
Yeah, no problem. So I think for me, and I think for all of us at AWE, a big thing for us would be your attitude and your behaviours, your motivations for why you want to come for that specific role. You know, we have a lot of great roles. When we see applicants that come through and they have a real passion for a specific area, that's what we're really interested in seeing. And like you said, Max, obviously there's certain roles you need certain qualifications for. You might need your GCSEs, you might need your A-levels, but really it's that willingness to learn. It's when you come to an assessment centre and you ask the right questions, you want to know what's going on. You don't need to know all the answers. That's the whole point of coming on an apprenticeship program. You're coming to learn, but that's what we're looking for. People that want to learn, want to ask questions, and have a great attitude, and they're passionate and they want to get stuck in. A team player as well. I can't remember what your second question was.
It was where we was about what when you look at somebody who's got a degree from university and somebody who's got a degree from an apprenticeship, do you look at them any differently, or do you value them both equally?
Oh, value them both the same, of course. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, there's no difference at all there. You know, it's just a different path that they've taken. You know, and with our apprenticeships, I think you explained earlier on, level 3. Yeah, you're coming straight from school with your GCSEs. You're getting a BTEC level 3. But there is progression into sort of, as Kai says, she's doing a HNC now, and if she wants to later on, and you know, she's got the right attitude, and the business case is correct. You know, we'll sponsor that degree for her.
Brilliant. Tim, now from the Dyson Institute perspective, I'm sure it's pretty much the same, right?
Yeah, very similar. I think in terms of kind of what we're looking at beyond the grades, which are obviously there just to ensure that you have that knowledge in order to thrive on the course. But in terms of attitudes, we're really looking for that passion for engineering as a subject, as a discipline. Any ways you can evidence that in what you do in and outside of school, it's fantastic. And I think another big thing is that kind of curiosity to learn as well. Recognizing that you're not going to come here with all the skills and all the knowledge, but are you hungry to learn those things that are going to make you a great engineer? I think the other key things that we look for and what we think makes an excellent engineer is all of those kind of softer skills. So that ability to collaborate with others, because you'll be working across teams, across departments, potentially even working across continents in Dyson's global engineering team. So how can you communicate effectively as well, and really demonstrate team working skills? They're all really important aspects of that. And then I guess finally the key component to studying a degree as well as working full time is your time management skills. So how can you demonstrate that you're going to be able to cope with the demands of that? Because it is challenging, it is a demanding course and program, but the rewards from it are absolutely huge. So how can you demonstrate that you're going to be able to thrive on that throughout the 4 years?
Brilliant. Leanne, what about from your perspective?
Yeah, very much the same as what most people have said here. I think the primary focus really for GSK is the person coming along, do they actually care about people? Because that's what we do. Everything that we do at GSK, as Toby mentioned, you know, he's literally in the place where people are creating these medicines for human beings. So one of the things that we do look for is, do you care? Do you actually care about the patient? Even if you never meet the patient, every single thing that you do, all of those moments really matter in terms of the actual end result for the patient, whether it's developing vaccinations or developing inhalers, as Toby mentioned earlier. So that's something that, you know, is definitely key for the recruiter. And it's, you know, the actual assessment process is very much focused on your strengths as a person. So what are you interested in? What lights you up? If we ask you a question about horse riding, but you actually really prefer going to the gym, don't just tell us that you like horse riding because you think it's going to help, you know, like talk about the things that you genuinely enjoy, because those are the things that contribute to your happiness, and that then massively impacts how you work as well. So that's definitely something that the recruiters do look out for, is what are your strengths, what are you interested in, and do you care about people? I can't remember the second part of your question actually, Max.
You pretty much answered all of it,
yeah?
so
okay.
you were good. You were good, and you can see there as well. Look, when you look at it, what are the qualities that they look for? It's not just about grades; it's about the type of people that you are. And you can see that from the apprentices that we've got on here, and they're giving up their time to come and talk to you about the opportunities that exist, that they've been through what you're about to go through, and they're promoting it because they can see the value behind it. But you look at the companies and they want to know that you are motivated to be in that company or to learn more about that company, but also think about what is it that you do that shows a genuine passion for that area that you're about to go into. And think about these things, because you all have them, and don't be afraid to display them. And that important point that Leanne made towards the end is, when you go into any interview or any process, be honest, just be yourself and say what you actually feel, and be you and represent yourself in your true fashion. Don't try to represent what you think any of these brands are looking for. Don't try and sit in front of, let's say, Tim. Let's say you have an interview with Tim. Don't say what you think he wants to hear, because that's not going to work for you. Say what you actually feel, and then let Tim or let the recruiter make a decision as to whether you're right for that course and that institute or that place. So don't worry too much about that. And when we talk about these degree apprenticeships as well, Leanne, let's start with you. Do you align with particular universities for your degree apprenticeships at GSK?
Does that question mean, is the apprenticeship from a specific university, or
Exactly.
are we looking for particular? Right, okay. So there are lots of different apprenticeships at GSK. Depending on which of the engineering apprenticeships you apply for will depend on which university that apprenticeship is with. So some of the universities are Strathclyde. There's so many different universities offering the apprenticeships. Sheffield Hallam is another one. So it does very, very much depend on which apprenticeship you're actually doing. And as we mentioned earlier, some of the apprenticeships are not towards a degree, but they are towards a professional qualification. So again, that will depend on the apprenticeship itself.
When you look at the types of engineering, as you said, there's a few different types. What are the different types of engineering you look for, or that you look for?
So manufacturing is one of the biggest ones, because manufacturing plants at GSK, that is what churns the company. So the manufacturing engineering posts are in Stevenage, and some of them are in Barnard Castle. 2 of our apprentices are here today from Barnard Castle. Supply chain is another big engineering apprenticeship here at GSK. There are so many. There are so many.
Good. That's the important point to remember, that I want to say to students, that there are a lot of opportunities. We could sit here and list them all, but we'd be here till tomorrow morning. So go and have a look at the website. Stuff has been put in the chat box, so go and use the links. Now, AWE, Matt, Charlotte, same questions to you really, about specifically about the universities that you link up with, but then also how many different types of engineering courses do you have?
Yeah, so we're similar. It's all different ones across the board. So for our degree apprenticeships, if you're project management, you'd be off to the Western College in Weston-super-Mare. Civil engineering, South Bank in London. Manufacturing, you are at Newbury College. Nuclear engineering for both electrical and mechanical, that is National College for Nuclear at Bridgewater. Electronic design will either be Reading or Portsmouth, still to be confirmed, and then building services as well at South Bank University. So we have a wide range there. And again, that's all listed on our website as well.
Good. Again, go and do the research, have a look at the websites and see what the opportunities are, but there's lots there. And you can see that they all align with different universities according to what the course is and what the requirements are.
And for our level 3s, the sort of, what we're offering is calibration and instrumentation. We have electronics, we have a mechanical, we have electrical, we've got mechatronics, which is a bit of everything, draftsperson, precision machinist, and we look at sort of using our local colleges to carry that out for us. So it's they generally go to college 1 day a week, and it's Basingstoke, Reading and Newbury colleges that we're currently using.
Brilliant. That's good to hear from the other levels as well. Tim, the Dyson Institute, slightly different now, right?
Yeah, we're a little bit different in that we do it all in-house. So we have our own lecturers and academic team, and we award the degree aspect of our qualification ourselves now that we've got our own degree awarding powers. And what that basically means is that we can ensure that your whole experience in terms of what you're learning in the degree and what you're doing in the workplace and everything else really works well together. So you're not being pulled in different directions by a university, by an employer. We deliver the whole thing. And it also means that what we're teaching you is as relevant as we could possibly make it, because what you're learning is from engineering lecturers at Dyson, and then you're in the workplace with engineers at Dyson. So what we're teaching you is exactly what industry needs at this very moment in time. It's not dated, it's not out of touch. It's exactly what you need in order to be a kind of an engineer of the future.
Could I just jump in on that sorry, I just feel like it's really important,
absolutely,
especially for our degree. The fact that it is an in-house degree means that the level of feedback that we're able to give and the level of kind of how much we're able to influence the degree to make it best for everyone involved is the lights are turned off. Is just immense. Like we have academic reps, and they have so much influence over how the course is ran and how it works best for everyone, which is something that I feel like when you have a separate university, there's a disconnect. And it gets quite difficult to do that as effectively as we're able to do it here.
Okay. what I want students to understand as well is when you ask about the university they're aligned with, look, the Dyson Institute has gone through a whole process to be able to have that accreditation, to be able to award a degree. So it's a very rigorous process, same as a university goes through to be able to say that they can award a degree. What I would say is that from my perspective, from a pathway CTM perspective, don't get too hung up about the university that is linked to the degree apprenticeship, because I know that as a student, when you go through UCAS and you're looking at certain courses, you're picking out certain universities. But actually look at the company that you're applying to instead, for whether it's level 3, level 4, or a degree apprenticeship, which is levels 4, 5, and 6, or a master's one, which is level 7. Look at the company that you're working for and you're getting your experience with, because that's actually what you're going to be, what's going to be looked at once you finish. Yes, obviously, if you get a degree, it's great to have that degree and it comes from a specific university, but you've also been working for that company and you have that experience through there. It is important, but I would say don't worry about it as much as if you were going just to university to study, because it's a different way of choosing, and it's a different way of picking where you're going to go. So don't use the same process. And again, we can support you with that, with making those decisions and understanding it more. Now, we haven't got long left, but I want to ask a few more questions. I'm going to get a few more opinions from the apprentices. Kai, if I remember that you after GCSEs, you went straight into AWE. But can you give us a sense, all of you, give me a sense of, if you did A-levels or equivalents, what did you study? And if you don't mind saying what grades you got, but similar for GCSE, if you don't mind saying what you studied that has been useful towards your apprenticeship. Kai, let's start with you. What did you do? You finished your GCSEs. What kind of GCSEs did you do, and how do they help with your apprenticeship?
So I did the ones that you obviously had to do, so maths and the sciences. I also chose to do an engineering level 2 BTEC, a product design GCSE, and a computer science GCSE. So I got a 9 in my maths, an A star in my further maths, distinction star in my level 2 engineering, an 8 in my product design, an 8 in my computer science, and an 8 in my science combined. And all of those helped with my grades to get into AWE, although I applied when I predicted grades, but you do not need to get nearly as much as I did to get in to a level 3. You just have to get a 4 in your English and maths to get in. Anything else is just a bonus.
Brilliant, fantastic. And you've answered a couple of extra questions as well. George, what was your situation?
So I came from sixth form, so I applied with A-levels. So I did further maths and physics, and then I did a BTEC in engineering. I would actually say that of the two, my A-level maths has helped the most in terms of the degree side. And actually the BTEC engineering has been the most useful in work, because it taught me skills like CAD and like CAD skills that you don't tend to get in education as much.
Good to see there as well. You can have the mix of BTECs and A-levels and the different skills that they give you. Millie, what about you?
Yeah, so I came straight from GCSEs, so I was 16 when I came. At GCSEs, I studied engineering, DT, geography and business. I think I did combined science rather than separate science, and I'd say that physics has actually come in quite a lot in our college work that we do now. Definitely engineering and definitely DT. DT in terms of like the hand skills, and engineering because we had to do coursework, and I actually took my coursework to my interview and they were quite impressed with it, so I definitely think that helped spurred it on, just as like a demonstration as to what you can actually do. And in terms of grades, I got all 8 apart from DT, which I got a 7 in, but again it's good, but I wouldn't say irrelevant, but it's not as important as what you think it is. It's all about like what type of person you are, and if you're willing to learn, then that's all you need.
Cool, thank you. Toby, what about you?
So I started Glaxo after my A-levels. So at A-levels, I did IT, engineering, business and maths. But for the Glaxo apprenticeship I'm doing, it's level 3 advanced you only need your GCSEs. So basically my A-levels were just an added bonus. So I got in using my GCSEs. So GCSEs I did IT, engineering, geography, German, I believe. And across it was A's and B's. I know it's all changed now, but it was a few years ago when I did mine. Yeah, I got into my GCSEs. That's just the entry requirements for the engineering apprenticeships, and that'll be, I'm assuming, across the board. So if you've done your A-levels, don't worry, added bonus, extra qualifications on your CV, it looks good. If you've done your GCSEs, then you can still apply and still eligible, which is obviously what you want to hear.
Brilliant. Now, it is 7 o'clock. It's 7:01. There's been a lot of questions asked, a lot of questions answered. After the session tomorrow, I'm going to go through some of the other questions that haven't been answered, and I have resources to be able to send to those of you that have asked them so that we can answer those questions and to help you, give you support. Like I said before, every Wednesday during term time, 4:30 till 5:30, I do a drop-in session, which is pretty much like this, where you can come along, ask one question, ask 100 questions, come and ask. There's been lots of good information. The thing that we want you to take away is that there's a lot of opportunities, and in different companies, look at the website, look at the resources, do your research, and keep an open mind, because companies want to get good people in that have great skills, good qualities, that are good people, not just interested in having great grades. So think about yourself as a full individual, and then at Pathway CTM, we can help you to talk about those in an interview. But again, do the research and then come back and ask us the more questions that you need. The opportunities are endless. You've seen different students here that are apprentices, that are doing different things, have entered in different ways, that have achieved different A-level grades, different GCSE grades, and are going on to do different things. So it shows you that there's opportunity for everyone. You may come out of this and think, I'm still not sure if an apprenticeship is for me because I don't know if I learn that way. Absolutely fine, and that's the value of this as well. But come back and ask us for help. Before we do finish, afterwards I've got one more poll that we need to go through, and I'll put up for you, because in the coming months we're going to be doing other sessions and events, and I'll put the QR codes up for anybody who wants to sign up. But I am going to ask the representatives from the brands. So I'm going to ask Matt and Charlotte, and then Leanne, and then Tim, if there's any last words they want to say about engineering, about their opportunities, or any last pieces of advice they'd like to give students about apprenticeships, degree apprenticeships, or getting into their company's opportunities. So Matt and Charlotte, anything you would like to add?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that so our applications are open at the moment, but we have started closing some of the roles that are filled. So I did pop it in the chat, but the roles that we still have open at the moment are at level 3, precision machining, quality inspector, draftsperson, and C&I tech author. And we do still have 2 level 6 degree apprenticeships open, project management and building services, but I am going to close those tomorrow. So if you like the idea of those, get on with your application this evening. But all the information is on the website. Yeah, we look forward to seeing your application if that's something that you'd like to consider. But if not, we will open again next year for the 2024 intake, 2025 intake. Yeah, please just reach out, look on our website, and if you have any questions, let us know. I don't know if Matt, if you wanted to add anything else.
Yeah, and I just want to emphasize there's a lot of talk about sort of grades and and the right people, and it is all about having the right people. We just expect their minimal grades, because apprentices is about sort of learning by doing, and sort of going. You do college as well, but example, I started as an apprentice at AWE 35 years ago, and it's there's lots of opportunities after that apprenticeship and as you move through the business. So we just want the right people, someone that's keen to learn and to sort of willing.
Brilliant, thank you for that. Leanne.
Yeah, pretty much echoing those sentiments, that we want the people who want to be here, really. I can see that there are 100 of us on the call, and there were a few more earlier. I don't know how many of you are girls, but we really need more girls to apply. So it's brilliant that Millie's here today, and that's a big ask from us at GSK, is that we just want to see more applications from our female students and non-binary students, really. It doesn't mean that there's no place for the boys. We're always happy to have applications from boys, but a lot of our manufacturing sites are predominantly male. And so it's something that we're really, really keen on. We do run a lot of events that are specifically for our female applicants. So if you're interested, just take a chance and apply, you know.
Brilliant. And if you've got a second, Leanne, get those, if you can get some application links into the chat box, that'd be fantastic.
Okay.
Tim, what about you?
Yeah, I think the main thing to say is just for those of you in year 13, applications for September 2023 are open and they close on the 29th of January. So you've got a couple of weeks to kind of get that application in. That will just consist of personal statement and a CV. So you can use your UCAS application as a bit of a template for that. So make sure you don't miss that window. But other than that, we will kind of be engaging with year 12s and below over the next year or so. So plenty of chances to ask more questions. We'll be hosting some virtual open days later in the year as well to find out a bit more. And you can always email us as well. And I'll put some links in the chat for all of that.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that. Great information. Now, I've got one last poll that we need to launch. So I'm going to put it on the screen. Answer the questions. Following the event, which route are you thinking of taking? You know the options. Let's get the answers in. And then how much more do you know about engineering the opportunities in the sectors that we've just spoken about? And then following the event, would you consider applying for any of the brands, all of them, not sure yet, none of them? Let us know. Give you a few seconds to answer that. We're almost there. And whilst you're answering those polls, I am actually going to put up. You can see the events coming up with the brands that we've just spoken to and the QR codes to sign up to get signed up to those events. So have a look at those. Right, we're almost there. I'm going to give it give it 15 seconds. Almost there. Almost there. 5 more seconds. Done. Let's share the results. Let's have a look. So following the event, 23% thinking about university degree, 35% degree apprenticeship. So we've seen a swing. 7% are looking at other levels of apprenticeships as well. Really good. 35% still not sure. Good. Keep questioning. There's a lot of students that came on from lower years as well, not just year 13 and 12. You've got time to do your research and explore. And I know that a lot of this information can be new. I don't want to say confusing, but it can be new and maybe make you question a few things, and that's good. Keep coming back to us for more advice. Come to more events. You see them on the screen. Come and have a look at those events as well. How much more do you know about engineering and the opportunities in this sector? 42% know a lot more. 52% know a fair bit more. Sounds like we've done our job. And then following the event, would you consider applying for any of the brands? 58% have said the Dyson Institute, 32% GSK, 36% AWE, 25% are not sure yet. That's absolutely fine. Again, only 6% have said none of the above. So again, I think we have done a fantastic job. I say we, you, the apprentices and the representatives from the companies have done a great job. So I'm going to keep that screen up there for students to scan the QR codes, get signing up to these events. They're fantastic opportunities. And I do want to say thank you to all of our representatives, to Matt, Charlotte, Kai from AWE, Leanne, Toby, Millie from GSK, and Tim and George from the Dyson Institute. Thank you genuinely to all of you coming this evening to give up time after work, especially the apprentices, to give back to students who are going to be future apprentices and to share your experiences and to answer those questions. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you've all found this evening useful as well.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome. No worries. No worries. Well, everybody go and enjoy your evenings and go and enjoy your dinner. Thank you very much.